Good morning, good evening, and a good afternoon. This is Nathaniel Kempson Productions here today, and welcome to an unboxing video. So, in this box here, you can probably already tell from the video title, this is the first video, technically speaking, the first video in the new series, building a model railway. As you can see, there's no railway here yet. I've not built it, but the control system has arrived today. So, for this layout, I wanted something that looked a bit more professional, because normally I use the tried and trusted Bachmann EZ or EZ command system for DCC control. But this time I decided to try something a little bit different, and hopefully something that looks a bit more professional and a bit smarter for a layout in the front room. So I went down the road of the NCE Powercab system. That's what we're going to be unboxing today. As you can see, no prizes as to where I got this. Happens. They seem okay. Their pricing can be a little bit wonky sometimes, but that's just kind of the world at the moment. I've got a few accessories with this as well, including a little like plastic caddy thing from DCC Concepts. We'll have a closer look at all this in a moment, and the NCE auto switch as well, which we will also have a closer look at. So, box is out of the way. So the first thing I'm going to want to look at is this little auto switch here. I'll get loads of close-up clips a bit later on. There's this staple that's stuck in the way. So you get the little device itself, which is quite small, actually. One connection goes to the back of the DCC control system, and then one goes to the program track, and the other goes to the main track bus. Nice and simple, and you even get a little sheety looking thing that basically tells you exactly what I've just said. So that's good. We'll get to the meat and potatoes of this video in a moment. Firstly, I want to check out this DCC Concepts little bracket thing. It does come with screws. I doubt I'll use these screws. I think I'm probably going to go for some slightly bigger brass screws. They're a bit longer to hold it to the fascia. But it's little plastic. It's quite flimsy, which, I mean, once it's mounted with 4 screws, it's not really going to move much. But it's just it's just a little thing to slide the handset into. So it's not laying on the layout, you know, getting in your way, basically. It's a bit expensive for what it is. I think it was about £7, I think, when I bought it, which I think is a bit too much for a piece of fancy black plastic. You know, I'd much prefer if it was, you know, less than £5, I'd say. I'd be happy. But, you know, it's a universal one, so it will work with the NCE system. It'll work with the Gauge Master Prodigy Duot system, and it'll probably work with most of the other ones that have a physical handset as well. So, you know, arguably you do get your money's worth. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. Let's stand this up here so we know what's in it. If seal has been broken, check contents. Well, the seal is intact. Right, let's open this towards the camera. Et voila! Whoa, look at all of this. So what do we get? Looks like we get an instruction sheet. Read this and look at the pictures. Very helpful, NCE, thank you very much. Basically, this just tells you how to plug it in, how to wire it up, and what cables to use, etc. So, little plug looking thing which goes into the back of this This is a lot more fancy than I was expecting. So this is the PCP panel. I'm just going to call it the patch panel. This is where everything connects to the layout. So the light goes on the bottom, and then this left-hand socket here is the one you plug the power cab into. And the other one, I think, is for a different kind of control, with a dial throttle. On the back, we've got power, 2 other RJ12 connectors. I'm not sure what they are. I'll have to have a look in the manual for that. And then there's a track power feed, which is what this little doodad thing is for. So I'm going to plug that in there, and I'm going to keep it in there so I know where it is. So let's have a look on... Does it tell me what these are? No, it doesn't. I think it's so you can daisy chain other units together. I think. I'm not totally sure. I will say I'm a bit disappointed that this fascia piece is just plastic rather than a little bit of aluminium. I mean, all it's going to do is sit in a hole on your baseboard anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But it would have been nice maybe if it was not plastic. So we'll have a look at the handset in a moment, but we'll have a look at the accessories. So this is a nice springy cable. Bloody hell. As you can see, this is a 4-pin RJ12 cable. This is not the one you want to use with the Powercab handset itself. This is one that you use with I think it's the engineer throttle, I think it's called. Well, that's what they call it anyway. The controller with the little knob dial that I said about. Then of course you get the power adapter, which should be rated for about 2 amps if I recall. 1.8, so yeah, about 2 amps. So you're not going to have a lot of trains moving with this power supply. I think it's about... Oops, sorry, beat up the microphone there. I think it's about 2... Does it say on the back? No, it doesn't actually. I think it's about 2 or 3 maybe that you can use with this particular thing. But for my layout, doesn't even matter. I won't be driving more than probably 2 at the same time. So this is the cable that you do actually need. This is a 6-pin RJ12 cable. If I can get out of this bag. There we go. So there should be 6 connectors in there. Yep. So this goes in the front of the PCP panel, the patch panel on the left-hand side, and then this end goes into the bottom of the handset, which we shall have a look at now. Let's get the handset out. Ooh. You know, this is weird. It looks... Now, I will say, this isn't a bad thing, but this looks like 1990s or early 2000s technology to me. That's not a complaint at all. I actually really like it. The slightly off kind of grey colour of the buttons is a little bit off-putting though. I wouldn't mind if they were... They just look a bit dirty, even though it's a brand new unit. So with this, you've got your speed throttle, you've got direction, emergency stop, you've got shortcuts for headlights, bells, buttons and whistles and horns and stuff. You've got all of your programming things down the bottom as well, set up. You can press the program button and then key in a new address for the loco. And of course on the bottom there is the RJ12 connector, like that. And then this goes to the left-hand side of the PC panel, like so, the patch panel, done. And then, of course, power would go in there as well, like so. And then track feed comes out of this one. I'll go over the wiring of this officially when the layout is built, as I say. But I think from... That can be tough to get out, that. First impressions, I quite like it. It seems fairly intuitive. It's quite comfy to hold in one hand, which is a good thing. The speed control knob is actually quite nice. There's a lot of resistance to it, which personally I like. It's not a free spinning wheel like it is with some units. My computer keyboard notably has a free spinning volume wheel, which I like personally, but this is nice resistance to it. First impressions are quite good. It looks really professional. It feels quite nice. The plastic is quite nice and tough and sturdy. Nice big red emergency stop button in the middle. I like that. Yeah, no, I really like it. It's nice to hold. It's not too heavy, but it's not so light you think it's going to break if you do accidentally drop it. Something interesting of note that I'm pleased about is the screws on the back here are all standard, probably #1 Phillips, I would expect. Is this even a #1? I don't think that is a #1 actually. Yeah, standard maybe #1 or #2 Phillips head, which is nice. Means you don't need any fancy tools to open this up. In the event that something breaks, for example, you can just use a normal Phillips head screwdriver of the same size. No weird Torx screws, no weird key looking things that you need. I like that. I like how it feels. The buttons are, I mean, they're mushy because they're rubber dome, you know, kind of your standard keypad switches, but they feel okay. They've got a little bit of tactile bump to them, so you know once you've pressed it. They're not totally mushy. They're kind of like, think of it as the keypad you use for your credit card in a shop. That's the kind of feel these buttons have got, which I personally quite like. Now, there is one complaint that I have about this starter pack. And no, it's not the limited power supply. You get what you buy, you know. They offer a 5 amp booster system, which is, it's a few £100 just for the system, because it replaces the power supply, it replaces the patch panel, and it kind of replaces this. But yes, the one thing that I don't like about this starter set is this cable, is the included flat 6-pin RJ12 cable. Because I bought this system because I think it looks quite smart, professional, you know, something you could easily have in your front room or, you know, your dining room without it looking too offensive. It's not, you know, ridiculously bright colours, it's not obnoxious, it doesn't look like something from the Star Trek Enterprise. It just looks smart, and honestly, at a distance, you could mistake it for a scientific calculator, if I'm honest. Because it does kind of have that, like I said, 1990s, 2000s vibe about it that makes it look like a Casio calculator, which I like, as I've said. But it's the fact that this cable is flat and stiff. The kind of cable that I was expecting to have for the starter set is actually the one that you can't use in the starter set, which is the big springy one. I was expecting to have to use this in the starter set, just because look how nice and neat that is. You've got a lot of stretch on it. I mean, so much stretch, I can't show you the full stretch because that's how much stretch there is on it. But, you know, I'm sure I could plug this into one end of the layout and walk completely to the opposite end of the room and it would still be enough. And then it all shrinks back to this nice, neat length here, which, once it's hooked on the thing, on the side of the layout, will only probably be about, I guess, that long. Whereas the cable you're supposed to use, and I will show you how long and awkward this one is. So we'll plug one end in to the handset. That's it. So handset in the little bracket thing, cable plugged into the layout. That's what you're left with. I don't like this. I understand why they did it. It's so you don't get the two confused, because one is a 4-pin cable and one is a 6-pin cable. The 6-pin cable only works in the left-hand slot here for this handset. The springy one, which is the 4-pin, works in this one. And this is for the other type of handsets you can get, because you can have 2 handsets with this system. I know why they made one springy and one not. It's so you don't get them confused. Because if you had 2 springy cables, one 4-pin, one 6-pin, you'd have to get right down close to the connector, look at the wires and count how many there are. And, you know, especially for people older than myself, the older generation of railway enthusiasts, they wouldn't be able to see the tiny little connections in these things. So I understand why they made one stretchy and one not. I just would have preferred it if they had color-coded them. Have 2 springy cables, one 4-pin, one 6-pin, and then just have them color-coded. Something like 6-pin silver cable. That's easy to remember. And then 4-pin other cable. I don't know. 6-pin silver. That's easy to remember. But yeah, it's just a little bit irritating. I mean, yes, you can buy 6-pin cables like this that are springy. In fact, DCC Concepts make one as well, but it wasn't actually in stock when I ordered all of this. So that's something I'm going to get later down the line, because it's not quite as important as the rest of it. But it's just something I feel that they should at least think about if ever they do a Powercab version 2 or 3 or whatever they happen to be on now. But other than that, I do honestly think that it's a very good system. You know, for me, this is the first proper DCC control system that I've bought. In times past, when I've built digital layouts, I've used the tried and trusted Bachmann EZ command system. Nothing wrong with it at all, it works fine. It's a very good starter controller. But as I say, for a layout in the front room, which is probably the most public place, at least in my apartment, you know, everyone who comes in my apartment is going to see it. It's not often that guests will, you know, venture off into your bedroom where the other layouts are. So I wanted something that was smart and inoffensive. And I think that achieves it very, very well. And I cannot wait to build the real layout and test this out. So, yeah. I've been Nathaniel Kempson Productions, and this has been the NCE Powercab unboxing video. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to... Oh, my camera's just died. I guess this bit's just going to be audio then. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more video content coming soon. And keep your eyes peeled for episode 2 of building a model railway. Thank you very much for watching. And goodbye!